Hi, I'm Categorise. I help small business owners stop wasting time and make more money in their business. On this channel, you will learn lots of tips and tricks that you can use every day. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Make sure you press that subscribe button. Okay, so if you know me, you know that I'm always talking about data. It's really important that you keep relevant data, relevant information of your business that helps you make decisions. Sometimes it's really difficult though, when you've just got streams of data to really know what to do with it. Sometimes it's just too difficult. And I always say the best thing to do with your data is to categorize it. Put information in little categories or buckets so that when you're looking for something or when you're trying to do some work or do some charts, pivot tables, if you've got categories, it will make your life a lot easier trying to digest that information and do something with it. Now, the best way of categorizing, I guess the easiest way to categorize your data is when you've got it in Excel or in Google Sheets, is to use those little drop-down menus, and you can categorize your information really quick and simply that way. So I'm going to show you two ways of doing that, one in Google Sheets and one in Excel. And I'll start with Google Sheets now. Okay, so here we are in a Google Sheet file that I have ready. It is a really simple one that I've just put together. It has the date, the description, and the amount across the three columns. But I don't have a category for it yet, so that's what I'm going to do next. Now you could manually write this out. Insurance, for example, let's put that down as stationery. And we've got another stationery one down here. And the problem is, when you're manually typing it out, you can see here what I've done. I've got a spelling issue. Let's give it another one. Again, there's just, what you can see, there's just room for too much error. I've got membership here, I've got members here, I've got stationery spelt wrong here. So when you're manually writing these things out, there's just a lot more scope for mistakes, and it's just boring having to write it all out manually, to be honest, isn't it? So to get around that and keep the mistakes down to a minimum and to just make that process a lot faster is by doing these drop-down lists that I mentioned. Now, I've already got some categories here that I've got on the side, and I want to make that list available in this column D. And the quickest and easiest way of doing that is by using a data validation. So I'm going to highlight this section here. That's where I want my drop-down list to be. I'm going to go to data, which is in this top toolbar, and go to data validation. That'll bring up this pop-up box. And I'm going to keep it really simple today. But basically, this here, the cell range, is the bit that we've just highlighted. Now we could put different options here. The list of items, for example, you can manually write things out and it will come up in your drop-down list. But because I already have a list here on the right-hand side, I'm going to choose list from a range. And I'm going to click on the little window that will take me to this box. And where it says select data range, I'm going to highlight my categories. I'm going to press OK. I'm going to actually freeze it by putting the dollar values in. That way I know my list isn't going to change. If you have any questions, by the way, of what I'm doing, please make sure you put a comment and I'll come back and answer them. I'm going to leave this as it is. There are more options that you can select, but for today I'm going to keep it simple, and then I'm going to press save. And now you'll see these little down arrows popped up in these cells. And that's where the data validation, the drop-down lists are, using the data validation. Now I don't have to manually type anything in. I can just go to the drop-down and select a category. So the first one for insurance, let's go to stationery, memberships, Let's put this down as marketing and so on. It's just so much quicker. And because you're selecting from a list, you're not going to make those spelling mistakes. Now, those little errors, those spelling mistakes errors, for example, they really affect the data. So when you're trying to do charts or pivot tables or anything of that nature, that then becomes a separate category, and then you're just having to cleanse your data when you're just trying to do a simple chart. So starting from scratch, do the categories from the beginning, or add them in now that you know how to do it, and it'll make your life easier. Now, this was a really quick example. Look, it's just simple and easy. I'm going to finish that off, and then I'm going to show you exactly the same thing, but in Excel if you're an Excel user instead of Google Sheets. Okay, so here's exactly the same thing, but here I'm using Microsoft Excel 365. I think even the older versions, it's pretty much an identical technique to do this. And again, it's very similar to Google Sheets. So even if you're crossing between the two applications, it's really, really similar. So again, I've got exactly the same data here. I want to put my categories in this column, and I'll get my categories up here. So the quickest way of doing it, I'm going to highlight my rows. In fact, you could even highlight the whole column if you wished. I'm just going to highlight this bit here. I'm going to go to the data tab in my toolbar. And then here, I'm hoping you can see within the data tools, there's a little button. And if you click on the drop down here, it comes up as data validation. You could also type in data validation here and it will take you straight to it. I'm hoping now you can see the pop-up box that's appeared. It's called data validation. And again, there's lots of different options that you can have. But for this one, again, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to select list. Now in the source box, again, you can manually type it out and just put a comma in between each option. Or you can go to your existing list, which is what I'd recommend actually. I'm going to highlight that list. It's already put the dollar values in, which means that it's frozen. There are more options in Excel. There's far more options in Excel, but again, I'm going to keep it simple today. And then press OK. Now the data validation is in there. The drop-down lists are there, but you can't see it in Excel until you click on the cell, and then you'll see the arrow. So they are there. It just shows up slightly differently compared to Google Sheets. And it's exactly the same. No more manual typing it in, risk of errors, risk of adding categories that you didn't really want to add. And it's just simple. And there we have it. Simple as that. Right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Okay, simple as that. Really quick and simple way of categorizing your information. That way you can then, focus on the bits that you want to look at. If you want to do charts, pivots, whatever the analysis that you want to do, those categories, that drop-down validation using the drop-down list is a really, really great feature to use in your business data. If you have any questions, please do leave a comment below. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please subscribe before you leave. Thanks for watching. Bye.